Day, Rosehill, 27th of July. Rails in the true position. Looks like we're going to get probably an 8, 9 or 10, depending on how much rain we receive overnight in the morning. Either way, heavily rain affected. Hopefully it's in the sort of 8 range, which plays a much fairer track than sort of the 10 and worse, where it can be really difficult to make any ground. I'd say that at the moment with the true rail, it'll be a bit of a normal Rosehill track where you want to be saving as much ground as you can in the run and then getting off the fence in the straight, sort of 5, 6, 7 out off that fence is going to be the best play. So somewhere, just behind the speed with cover, or one off, and then getting a little bit wider in the straight will be the best option. Start of the day, pretty mediocre 2,000 metre race, and it looks a pretty dangerous race with the top weight and Northern Journey coming up from Victoria, having just put in a career best effort first win in 18 starts on a dry track, and gets now to its more favoured wet track. Deanne Pena to ride. She suits the horse by the look of it. It's a go forward horse, drawn out. Looks like that the only other horse that really wants to take part in the speed battle is Birds of Tokyo, the other Melbourne runner that has also got the 3 kilo claimer on it, so could be a bit of a speed battle there. Went looking for a horse that was suited by a strong 2,000 metres and pretty much came up with Northern Journey, obviously back from the 2400, and a winner shorter as well, so it should be suited, and possibly My Giuliano, who will get the right run behind them and has won over the 1900, and even though I'm not really convinced by him as a horse, probably looks well suited here. Not liking Firebird Fire losing the senior and going back to the junior rider. It's got a chance, but I'm not that keen to play with it, and I'm not real keen on the other, so not really overly wanting to play here, but thought that the top weighted around the $7 mark was probably the value if there was any. My Giuliano, 380 best around. Not really keen to jump into that, and the other two runners, $384, and not too exciting. I'm a big query on Erica at a strong 2,000, so I'm not looking there either. So pretty quiet race to start the day. Go to race 2, another race to me that looks a bit of a nightmare. Could play in it because I'm not convinced by Extensible. I'm intrigued by Deanne Pena jumping on Shards, thinking it's got the strongest form, and I'm assuming they're going to roll forward here with her booking. He definitely can measure up to this sort of grade and could be dominant if he put his best foot forward. Hasn't won in a year, but that's okay. The other horse that I'm sort of a little bit interested in is Pirate Ben. I thought both his runs since a little let up have been forgive efforts. He was a bit unlucky not to get in early last start, and then really paid the price. Here he looks to slot in just behind the speed pretty much wherever he wants to, and he can definitely improve. I'm not sure what to make of Antonio Giuseppe, especially how he's jumped 1250 up to the 1550 and now back to the 1500. He may be looking for a bit further, but the heavy track will help him a little bit there. All in all, it's not another race that I'm not too excited to get involved in, but Shards at the $7 and Pirate Benner at the 8 probably get better. Other two that are appealing, Extensible at 250 and Antonio Giuseppe around the 380 mark are the two I'd be betting around. And the other one that can improve, Tower of Song, from a very funny ride last start, but this is tougher, but I'm not really convinced by that horse either, to tell you the truth. So another race full of queries, and the blowout horse to that race to me looks to be Take Wing actually too at the 29 mark. I could see it winning. Quickly through those two, and now onto a bit more of an exciting race in the 3-year-old handicap. Benchmark 70 sees the return of Evacuation. For those who missed its first start, it's worthwhile seeing again, as it's possibly one of the 2-year-old performances of the year for mine, and it was a horse that I think they expected to be much better over a journey, which is signified by the first up 1400 metres that we see here. This day he lobs outside the leader, hair triggers out the back here. There's another couple of winners come out from this race, and it's been quite a strong form race. Here he is outside the leader. Really doesn't show electric turn of foot for me, but you can see it slowly building through its gears, and its last 100 metres is the strongest part of its race. And it was super strong. Came back and trialled well twice. This was its most recent trial over the 1045, where he gets to the front very easy. He's obviously got a good cruising speed, the horse, and these are some pretty decent horses here behind Balmain Boy and I like. Evacuation again sort of builds through his gears. He's a serious player in whatever he goes to. For mine, this preparation, Caulfield Guineas, Golden Rose, wherever he ends up, I wouldn't be surprised. I think if he holds together, he's a top liner. In saying that, he's got things against him here, and he's going to be prohibitive odds. He's already into $2.30. First up, 1400 on a heavy, and he's on pace. I wouldn't want to bet against him. I wouldn't want to lay him, but I'm scared that if the possible scratchings of horses like Coco Excel and Youth Red, that he could be a bit of a he could be into red figures, into odds on. So the horses I'm looking at around him, possibly Calabasas is a horse that can run a race at odds. Suzanne obviously was a very good effort on first up on the heavy, and so was Savan. So gun to my head, I'm going to back Evacuation in this race. I don't want to take the odds available at the moment. If it gets out to 6 to 4 or beyond, if there are scratchings, or 2 to 1 if everything does run, I could possibly entertain having something on him, but I'm definitely not backing anything to beat him. And if I'm going to play multiples with him, I'd probably have Evacuation, Calabasas, Pipeline as the value to run second or third, with the other favourite sort of in there, thereabouts. But I'm very keen to look at Evacuation here more than anything, and see how he's come back, and hopefully he can go on to better things following this. Race 4, and it's the highway race. There's already been scratchings of Perizada, Handwritten, Snowbrook, and possibly more in the morning. Keen on a few here. I think I'm a bit of a sad story for this horse in Ocean Grand, but he's really due for some luck. He's drawn horrific again. He drew 12 originally, so he'll come in a little bit, but not a lot, and he's going to need a little bit of luck early. There does look to be room for him on speed. With scratchings, they should break up a little bit, and if he's a little bit positive early and gets a bit of luck, he might be in the first 5 or 6, and that's going to make his life pretty easy. Sorry about that. The other horses I was interested in, if Charge of Light comes here instead of going to Beaumont, which he's already accepted at as well, I think he's got a good chance. If you look at his last run at, we'll have a quick look at both of these runs. So this was Ocean Grand's last run. Might have gone a little bit too far forward here. He's a midfield horse, and for whatever reason he's a little bit slow out here, and he's really dug up and pressured when he could have slotted in pretty much wherever he wanted to midfield. Instead he gets stuck 3 wide and ends up 3 and 4 wide, no cover throughout, working up against the lead here. They did go at a pretty steady tempo, but either way he's out of his comfort zone. He's a midfield horse to finish off, and he's still battling on right there, even though he's 25 days between runs, with 200 and 100 to go, and he just weakens late. So ridden more patiently, I'd say this race here was definitely a much stronger race than he reached tomorrow, and he looks value around the $8 mark. The other horse here, In Charge of Light, came up against he was 33 days between runs, and came up against a ridiculous fence bias here, and when I say ridiculous, I'm talking 5 5 lengths plus bias to be hard against the fence here. Charger lights out the back and ends up coming widest and loses probably a couple of lengths there. Comes widest and had no possible winning chance from where he was. He can improve. He can improve sharply. He's drawn the right spot to be ridden for a bit of luck, and if he gets it, he's a definite winning chance. $21 at the moment. It's a huge price. Farah's got to be conceded some chance. Draws tough today, and it's a tougher race for mine. Alliterate can improve significantly. It was not wanted in the betting first up and ran accordingly. He can improve, especially if there's any back in the stables. Very astute. I'm looking to bet around beside you. I thought, even though it had a bit of a bump there last start, it had its chance. And while it's drawn inside again here, Surge is going to need to produce a good effort, and the horse is going to need to improve. The bottom one is intriguing for mine in Akasaki. First up for a long time there the other day on the heavy 10. Tamworth, 301 days. He was a big blower in the market, but he found strongly, and looks like it was a really strong race. They've gone out really hard there and held on well. So he's one that can definitely improve, and drawn the inside gate, he'll probably kick up and sit leads back or somewhere similar, and he'll be right there. Ocean Grand, Charge of Light for mine. Akasaki third pick. Keen on Ocean Grand with a bit of luck, and he's the one that I want to be on. Race 5, and it's a sprint race over the 1100 metres. There looks to be solid tempo with Magnajoy, Mama Schnitzel not as much for mine, highly geared, and LA Cheval already being scratched from the other race save for this. It does look like they're going to go along, and that should set it up for those in behind. The horse that can't believe how well he's going is Zoo Magic. His run 2 starts to go over 12.50. Here he is back here, coughing, bumping, gets to the middle, and really hits the line powerfully. He's left all those that came with him behind there in 2 strides. His accelerations this time in, and he's strong through the line. That's 12.50, so we're talking back to 1100 here on a bit more of a testing surface. Should be a similar sort of task. Inside gate, down in the weights. I think he's carrying 54 kilos here, and he's got a huge winning chance. That was 2 starts ago. This is his last start, where it was a bit tougher to make ground. Panya's rolled along in front, and this horse is again run on strongly against the bias and got to within a neck on the line, which is a really good effort. Again, you watch him running through the line, nothing else making more ground than him. Lemieux has run a good race, but he's absolutely flying this prep, and the one to beat for mine with any luck. Rosehill put in a huge effort last week behind Southern Legend. I think he's a much better 1,000 metre horse than 1100, and 1100 on the heavy may test him out. Shahrazad, I think, is the opposite. Probably 1100 on the heavy's more up her alley, and she can improve. Lucinari first up. Really want to see her parade a little bit fitter, and LA Cheval's probably the one that will roll along and give him something to catch. So Zoo Magic, Shahrazad, LA Cheval for mine, and a watch on a Lucinari in race 5. Race 6 over the 1200 metres, sorry. And Sabakis and Snoopy come up the shorter price favourites in the race here around the 350 mark, and look clearly hardest to beat. Both drawn ideally in sort of 3 and 4. You've got in Costanati that looks like it's going to set up a pretty solid tempo with Herrera, and they should get their chance sitting behind. I really find it hard. I think His Majesty's going to need an even better ride from Tim Clark. I'm not a big fan of Handfast, and gate 10 first up, wide gate, and I can't come into it. I really think it's between the Sabakis and Snoopy, and the edge to Sabakis just on pure ability for mine. You might get a better price about it also. Snoopy ticks all the boxes and looks the clear danger. With His Majesty obviously going to improve as well off the first up win, and does look well placed. There's not a lot to really talk about here. I think they just clearly look the two best placed horses in the race, and His Majesty's just going to need that little bit of luck from with the 61 from that wide gate coming back and getting an inside run again, probably to run these down. Moving on to the feature horse race for the day, and spent a little bit of time on it because it does deserve it. It is a top quality race. This is a toppy and a stern. Everyone's been touting this horse Impending super highly, and everyone was kind of surprised to see McDonald choose a stern, but it was following this trial. Stern's 3 back the rails here. These are sort of Epsom horses we're talking about here. Sons of John, Happy Clapper. Stern pulls around their heels. These are not 3-year-olds. And a stern. This is Defcon, another 3-year-old, but a stern just looks effortless. He's a pretty big horse, and you know this is not his final. You know he's qualified for the Golden Rose and the rest of the races, so although he's drawn ideally and he looks like he's going to see his chance here, I'm a little bit sceptical that this is his day. I wouldn't be surprised to see him heavily backed and win, as I know what sort of ability he does possess, but just not sure about today. El Divino's first up, draws the inside. Not a horse that I can get super excited about at this stage. I really think it needs to go upper level, and today's not the day for me to sort of want to step into him at these odds. I think he's at rock bottom of the market for mine. Star Turn put in a really solid win first up. He did everything pretty effortlessly there. Got outside the leader effortlessly. Not sure that this was the strongest race in the history of the world, but it was definitely a race where Star Turn looked like he had a bit of improvement in him, and he's won this so effortlessly. Like you can see, he's still held together here. He's the last horse off the bridle, and he quickens nicely when he asked to beat off a much fitter rival in Thronham. And even Kentucky Miss had to run and was in the nice spot there. So plenty of improvement in Star Turn. I think he's a rock solid 1200 metre horse. He's drawn ideally, should just camp behind them, and he looks extremely hard to beat here. I think this is his race to lose, and it's going to take a very good horse to beat him. The other two main gallopers in the market are Mediterranean, who struggled to get past Thronham, maybe a little bit unluckily last time. This is a step up for him. And the other horse that I'm very interested in is Impending, going back to his first start, which is not that big a bearing on this sort of race. It's quite irrelevant. It's early 2-year-old form, but he went to the Queensland Carnival after this, and just that good acceleration he showed there, finished the race off strongly. He's obviously come back a lot better. The raps on him are huge. They're talking best horse in the stable sort of thing. I'm not so sure about that, but I do know that he has to win this race to get into the Golden Rose, and that's a big enough incentive for him to be a little bit more forward. I'm sure they've given him a little bit harder a gallop, and he does look like a horse that'll come to hand quicker than a Stern, so I think he's the main danger to Star Turn. I think Star Turn's clearly the horse to beat. I would have priced it much shorter, and a Stern's the other hope. You really do like to get a guide from the mounting yard for these sort of horses in a Stern, and Impending from the Godolphin yard. It's a big difference when they're tuned right up, but I'm really quite keen on Star Turn here. Second last, the Premier's Cup over the 1900. Allergic, short price favourite, won very well last up. It did see every possible chance. Now rises to 1900 third up, which you'd have to say is probably a better setup than he had last time, and is the horse to beat. I'm not doubting that. I'm interested in this horse here in Sense of Occasion, who went to Chris Lee's this preparation trial quite nicely at Gosford. Before racing well first up, sneaks up behind the leader here. This is a dead set sprinters race here. They've gone pretty slow and got home quick, so for him to stick on quite solidly in third, fourth there with a good effort, he's much more one pace than most of these runners, so out to 1900 is a big positive. That was 1400. Loves the wet. Gets around Rosehill and looks well placed here really. At the, I think it's around the $12–14 mark, so $14 best price around at the moment. So he's an interesting horse. Singing's obviously the stablemate, and another interesting horse. Hard to come into for mine. Had 5 weeks off since that first up run where he looked the winner before getting tired late. Obviously got plenty of natural improvement in him, but a little bit scary. Ruling Dynasty, third run back, after dropping in trip last time, can definitely improve. And then Sacred Master's the other main key runner. You watch him here, 3 wide and last, coming widest. They absolutely walked here and ripped home. This is the race where Allergic had the run of the race and got past these runners, and Sacred Masters back in the middle here, racing in restricted room, chopped out late. Another complete forgive run, and it's definitely the horse that can win, and I'm surprised by the 950 that's around for it at the moment. I think it should be much closer to Allergic in the betting out to this sort of distance range. Third up, he's had 11 starts on rain affected for 4 wins, never seen a heavy track, but that shouldn't really worry him. He's a winner at the 2400. He's beaten 1.8 lengths over 3200 at Group 1 level, so you know, the tougher the better for him, I'd say, and he just really looks tough to beat and good value for mine. Hard to say Magic Hurricane's not a winning chance here, but probably is up against it a little bit, and may be all the better for this one more run, especially on the testing surface. So for me, Allergic is quite obvious, but priced accordingly. Sacred Master, much better value. Sense of Occasion, a good knockout, but I'm not sure where he's going to get to from that gate. He'll probably roll a bit forward. Singing can win, but I want a lot better odds than $4 to be a part of him, and they're the main chances for mine with Ruling Dynasty and Magic Hurricane, the possible improvers, in a good little race. Last race over the 1350, and it's a race that could easily change complexion completely with a few scratchings already. We've seen the Incostonati, Invincible, Dingu Mountain, Servant Volley and Lucky Fish all coming out. We're left with favourites of Canny Essent, Chetwood, Ware Shaw, and then Labdian on the next line. Ware Shaw found the right race for mine last start. This is a lot tougher with the inclusion of horses like Chetwood and Canny Essent, and even for me, Ever So Natural, Cool Craft are all got chances. I think they're this is a bit tougher race for Ware Shaw, and I'm looking to sort of risk him a little here. I think Chetwood's got all the upside in the world. He had things in his favour first up and got the job done. Here he looks to possibly have to kick up and spend a bit of petrol from that inside gate, but definitely has the natural pace to do that. Donald will handle him well, and he's definitely the horse to beat. Chetwood for mine. Then you're on to horses like Coolcraft, who sustained a long run and did a really good job to get there last time. Ever So Natural, who had no luck as well last start, can be a little bit closer from the gate this time, and I think at 1400, 1350 on the heavies, probably as far as he wants, but I'm not going to completely put the line through him either. Then we've got Canny Essent, who chased home Chetwood last time when things were totally against him, and I'm not sure what to make of him. I thought he was really tuned up for that. There's possibly a little bit of improvement in him, but where the heck does he get to from 15 gate? If they go back, he's going to be having to either be ridden for luck or circle the field, or not sure what's going to happen there. So Chetwood for mine got quite a few things in its favour, and I'm a little bit surprised by its price around the $5 mark. I'd expect it to be a fairly dominant favourite. If it does run, I wouldn't be surprised to see it quite short. Labion's the other horse that's in the market. Sorry, I missed it, and it has some chance as well, I guess. I think waiting for scratchings in this race is key, and waiting for a bit of the market to settle, because a lot of variables there in who runs and who doesn't before this race. But playing devil's advocate for what it is right now, I'd have to be with Chetwood. I think Coolcraft is well priced around the $15 mark, even though he's going to need luck from the wide gate. Ever so natural around the 25, 30 to 1 marks. Far from poor value. Even Secret Profit can bounce back at 25 to 1 off a tough run first up down in the weights here, and sitting right behind the speed. So it's not a straightforward race for mine. I really would be surprised by any result, as you know, Chetwood second up, Canny Essence second up off hard runs, and they really don't look like they're bulletproof here. Wearshaw's going to get back on the inside and need luck, and not sure that it's really crying out for a hard run 1400 on a heavy, even though it is a winner over 1200 and around here. So 1350 metres around here last start on a 6 rated track. So a good day, a tough day that we'll have to be pretty patient in. I think that race 1's a tough race. Race 2's a decent little betting race. Evacuation I'm keen to look at in race 3, even though I'm not that keen to bet. The highway looks very playable. Race 5 with the sprinters, I think Zoo Magic looks really well placed. If Adkins can sort of be patient, get a bit of luck there, he's hard to beat. Sabakis and Snoopy, you take your choice there. Keen on Star Turn and Impending in the Run to the Roses, the two main chances. An open race in the Premier's Cup where Sacred Master looks good value, and then a good little 3-year-old race to finish the day, where I'm probably looking for value around the favourites, but I can definitely have something on Chetwood still around the 460, 480 mark, and then look for value around him as well. So hopefully everyone has a decent day, and we're well into the spring. The Run to the Roses looks a little jam, and hopefully we'll learn more, but they're going to have to be good to beat. No Main Sword and Divine Prophet. Thanks, guys.